Oh yes, our day is still becoming eventful. Well, hello again. This is me on our way to event 8 for RDSCC Autocross Day. As you can tell from the start of the video, we're still dealing with some fluid things, but I'm just giving you a quick look at a drive to the track. I'll show you my best lap of the day and then what we ended up with as far as figuring out the fluid and the smoke and everything else that happened from that day. Enjoy! Oh yes, our day is still becoming eventful. Back on my way home because at the end of every lap my transmission is like leaking a bunch of fluid right on the crossover, and then it's smoking and such, but it's not out on the lap, which is kind of weird. So every time I seem to get to the end, it stops, and then I look and it's leaking fluid. So I'm gonna go home quick. This is our lunch break, and set up the car on the lift and raise it up and just see if I can take a peek under there and if there's something's come loose. Well, I think it's this line that's leaking. It's a mess under here. Fluid everywhere. Like this line looks okay. I think we'll tighten down that line a little more and see what happens. Okay, we're heading back to the track. I got tightened down those fittings on the trans, the cooler lines. See if that's the issue. If not, I think our day's done. Okay, so we're back at the house after the afternoon. I did go back there. I tightened down those transmission fittings and then went out. It was still dripping, but not as much as before. So I think maybe the fittings were part of that, or that vent up there was relieving some fluid. I'm wondering if from the trans cooler when it blew up and I refilled some trans fluid, if I put too much in there and it's just venting off some fluid after a lap when I've been, giving it out there, and it builds up a bunch of pressure and then it starts venting out the fluid. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to get a piece of tubing. I'm gonna connect it to that vent. I'm gonna go and do some rip around laps time and somewhere that's safe to do that, and then see if the fluid builds up again on this line. And we are back after race day. So it's a few days later, and I'm trying to figure out if these transmission lines, that rear one, is leaking, or if it's just venting fluid and maybe I put in too much fluid from when the trans cooler blew up. I just topped it up too much. But here's what I've kind of figured out. I've taken just a little bit of trans fluid out of it, just in case it is topped up. The amount I took out is pretty minimal. If it was too full, it's just going to come within line. If it was already the perfect full, it's just going to be down a little bit. It's not a big deal. But I've rigged up this line here to the vent, and then I'm going to go drive around, be a little spirited in driving. Transmission, just smash through some gears, some high RPM stuff and whatever, and then see if the rest of the case gets all full of fluid and stuff like before, or this line gets, you know, full of fluid, or if it's just venting out of here, or if nothing happens. So best case scenario, nothing happens. It means I just had too much fluid in there and the vent was actually just doing its job and getting rid of the excess fluid under pressure. All right, we're out on our drive. Trans is up to temp. So I'll just go through some, call it harder laps, and then check that tube with the drain and also that fitting and see if they're leaking. We're back under the lift. It is hot under here, and that is the downpipe. So my head's getting hot. So I'm not gonna spend a lot of time under here, but yeah, it doesn't look like we have any trans fluid coming out of that vent, and the fitting, oh, get a shot of this. Can. That fitting right there seems to be, you know, dry. So classic case of the overfill. Now I'll just actually top it up a little bit more just to get it right where it needs to be, and we'll be good to go. Crisis averted.